Real English Lounge.
The art of everyday English. I want to try a small experiment. I am going to ask you a question, and I want you to notice your physical reaction before you answer.
All right.
How much money do you make?
There it is. I felt something shift immediately. Even knowing this is a podcast, even knowing this is a safe context, there was still a moment of, do I actually want to answer that?
That reaction, that small automatic discomfort, is what we are talking about today. Money is one of the last genuinely taboo topics in most English-speaking cultures. People will talk about their mental health, their relationships, their fears, their failures, and then someone asks about salary and the room goes quiet.
Why is that? What makes money different?
That is exactly what we're going to explore. Welcome to Real English Lounge. I am Claire.
I am Ethan, and today we're talking about money, why it's so hard to discuss, what the silence costs us, and how to actually talk about what you earn in English without it feeling like a confession.
Before we start, our usual challenge. If this podcast is helping your English, please subscribe on YouTube and leave a comment below.
Today's comment challenge. Have you ever felt uncomfortable talking about money? Tell us why. In English, one sentence. In the comments. We read every single one.
Level check. This is B1 to B2. The vocabulary today is practical and financial. The kind of language you need for real conversations at work, in job interviews, and with people you trust.
Later in the episode, we have the word tour. Today's words are salary, negotiate, transparent, worth, budget, and income. 6 words that give you real language for talking about money with confidence.
Let's start with the obvious question. Ethan, when did you first realize that money was a topic people did not talk about?
Very early. I grew up in a household where money was discussed in a kind of coded way. You can tell things were tight or comfortable by the atmosphere, by small decisions, by what did not get said, but the actual numbers, never. I did not know what my parents earned until I was an adult.
And did that feel normal at the time?
Completely normal. It was just the way things were. You did not ask. And when I started working, I carried that same rule with me. You do not ask colleagues what they earn. You do not say what you earn. It is private. It's almost impolite.
And that rule has a cost. A real, measurable cost.
What do you mean by that?
When salaries are kept secret, when nobody talks about what they earn, the people who benefit most are employers, not employees. Because information is power in a negotiation. If you do not know what your colleagues earn, you do not know if you're being paid fairly. You have no reference point.
So you accept whatever you are offered because you have nothing to compare it to.
Exactly. And the research on this is striking. Salary transparency, making pay information visible, consistently reduces wage gaps. When people know what others earn, they can advocate for themselves. They can say, I am doing the same work. I should be earning the same amount.
But in most workplaces, that conversation is still considered inappropriate.
In many workplaces, yes. And the discomfort is not accidental. There is a long history of employers actively discouraging salary discussions, sometimes even making it a policy. In some countries, those policies are now illegal, but the cultural discomfort remains even where the legal barrier does not.
So the rule is so internalized that people enforce it on themselves.
Precisely. The employer does not need to say anything. People have already decided not to talk.
Is this the same everywhere? Because I have the impression that different cultures have very different relationships with money and talking about it.
Very different. In the United States, for example, salary is generally considered quite private. Asking someone directly what they earn is often seen as intrusive, even rude.
And yet, in some other cultures, it is a completely normal question.
In many parts of Asia and Eastern Europe, discussing income is far less taboo. It's just information, like asking where someone lives or what they studied. There's no particular shame or pride attached to the number.
Whereas in British culture, and I think North American culture as well, money is tied up with all kinds of identity questions. Your income says something about your value, your intelligence, your choices. It is loaded with meaning beyond the number itself.
And that is why the conversation feels risky. It's not just about money. It's about how you will be perceived. If you earn a lot, will people think you're showing off? If you earn less than expected, will people think less of you?
So the number becomes a judgment.
And once you attach judgment to a number, sharing the number feels like submitting to evaluation, which is why most people avoid it entirely.
So how do you actually talk about money in English? Because knowing the theory is one thing, but sitting across from someone at a job interview and being asked about salary expectations, that is a different different experience entirely.
Let's start with the job interview context because it is the one most people find hardest. The question takes different forms. What are your salary expectations? What are you currently earning? What range are you looking for?
And most people either give a number that is too low because they're afraid of pricing themselves out, or they dodge the question entirely.
Both of those are mistakes. Giving a number that's too low anchors the negotiation at a disadvantage, and dodging the question makes you look unprepared or evasive.
So what do?
You research first. You find out what the role typically pays through salary databases, through job postings that include ranges, through conversations with people in similar roles. You arrive with a number that is based on information, not anxiety.
And then you say it.
And then you say it clearly. Based on my experience and the market rate for this role, I am looking for something in the range of X to Y. That sentence is complete, professional, and confident. It is not a demand. It is information.
And if they push back,
you can ask what the budget is for the role. That's a completely legitimate question. You can say, I want to make sure we are aligned on expectations. What is the range you have in mind? That moves the conversation forward without you having to give ground immediately.
What about among friends or colleagues? Is it ever appropriate to just ask what someone earns?
Context matters. With close friends, people you genuinely trust and who trust you, salary transparency can be incredibly useful. You might discover you are underpaid. They might realize the same. The conversation helps both of you.
And how do you raise it?
Honestly and directly. Something like, can I ask you something a little personal? I have been thinking about whether I'm being paid fairly, and I would love to compare notes if you are comfortable. Most people respond well to that framing because it's honest about why you're asking.
You are not being nosy. You're trying to be informed.
And that distinction changes the whole tone of the question. Time for the word tour. 6 words from today's conversation, all of them essential for talking about money in natural English.
Definition, natural example, mini dialogue, and an upgrade phrase for each one.
Word 1, salary. S-A-L-A-R-Y, noun.
A salary is a fixed, regular payment from an employer to an employee, usually expressed as an annual amount and paid monthly. It is different from a wage, which is typically calculated by the hour or the day.
Example, she had been in the same role for 3 years without a salary increase, and she was finally ready to have the conversation.
Mini dialogue. Did you negotiate your salary when you took the job?
I did not. I was just relieved to get the offer. I accepted the first number they gave me.
How do you feel about that now?
I found out 6 months later that my colleague in the same role earned 15% more. So, not great.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying my pay, try my current salary is at the lower end of the market rate for this role, and I think it is time to address that in my next review.
Word 2, negotiate. N-E-G-O-T-I-A-T-E, verb.
To negotiate means to have a discussion in order to reach an agreement. Usually, when two parties have different starting positions and need to find common ground. Negotiating a salary means discussing the terms rather than simply accepting what is offered.
Example, she had always felt uncomfortable negotiating, but once she tried it, she realized the discomfort lasted about 30 seconds, and the result was worth it.
Mini dialogue. Did they offer you what you asked for?
Not quite, but we negotiated and ended up somewhere I was happy with. I had been so afraid to push back. Turns out a counteroffer is completely normal.
What did you say?
I said, thank you for the offer. I was hoping for something closer to X. Is there flexibility there? That was it. That was the whole negotiation.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying I asked for more, try I negotiated the offer. I came prepared with a number based on research, and they met me partway. The conversation was much easier than I expected.
Word 3, transparent. T-R-A-N-S-P-A-R-E-N-T, adjective.
To be transparent means to be open, honest, and clear, not hiding information or concealing intentions. A transparent salary policy is one where pay information is shared openly rather than kept secret.
Example, the company had moved to a fully transparent salary structure. Every employee could see what every other employee earned.
Mini dialogue. Do you know what your teammates earn?
Actually, yes. Our company is fully transparent about salaries. It felt strange at first. Now, it just feels like information.
Did it change anything?
It changed everything. 3 people asked for raises within the first month of the policy being introduced. All 3 were underpaid.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying open about money, try I appreciate when companies are transparent about compensation. It creates a more level playing field for everyone, especially people who are less comfortable negotiating.
Word 4, worth. W-O-R-T-H, noun and adjective.
Worth has 2 related meanings here. As a noun, your worth is your value, what you deserve to be paid based on your skills, experience, and contribution. As an adjective, something is worth a certain amount if that amount is a fair or appropriate exchange.
Example, she had spent so long letting other people decide what her work was worth that she had lost her own sense of it.
Mini dialogue. Why do you find it so hard to ask for more?
Because somewhere along the way, I started letting the number tell me my worth instead of the other way around.
Meaning?
I thought, if they are only willing to pay X, then I must only be worth X, which is completely the wrong direction.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying, I don't know if I deserve more, try, I need to separate my sense of self-worth from my salary. They are not the same thing. One is a number someone offered me. The other is not negotiable.
Word 5, budget. B-U-D-G-E-T. Noun and verb.
As a noun, a budget is a plan for how money will be spent, a set amount allocated for a specific purpose. As a verb, to budget means to plan and manage your money carefully, deciding in advance where it goes.
Example, when she finally sat down and made a budget, she was surprised to discover she had been spending 3 times more on subscriptions than she thought.
Mini dialogue. How do you manage to travel so much on your salary?
I budget very deliberately. I decided a long time ago that experiences were my priority, so I cut costs in other areas to make room for them.
Do you find budgeting restrictive?
I used to. Now it feels like the opposite. It is what gives me freedom to do the things that matter to me.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying, I try to be careful with money, try, I have a fairly deliberate budget that I revisit every few months. It is not about restriction. It is about making sure my spending actually reflects my priorities.
Last word. Word 6. Income. I-N-C-O-M-E. Noun.
Income is all the money you receive regularly, from work, from investments, from any source. It's broader than salary. Your income includes your salary, but it might also include freelance work, rental income, or anything else that brings money in.
Example, his income that stayed flat for 4 years, while the cost of living had risen significantly, and he was only now beginning to name that as a problem rather than a fact.
Mini dialogue. Are you thinking about changing jobs?
I am thinking about increasing my income, whether that means changing jobs, negotiating where I am, or building something on the side. I have not decided yet.
That is a much more interesting frame than just, should I stay or should I go?
It takes the emotion out of it a little. The question is not about loyalty or identity. It's about whether my current situation supports the income I need.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying how much I earn, try, my income right now covers my needs, but I am not where I want to be. I am actively thinking about what would need to change to get there.
That is the word tour for today. Salary, negotiate, transparent, worth, budget, income.
6 words that give you real language for one of the most avoided conversations in English.
Let's close. We talked about why money is still one of the last taboo topics in English-speaking cultures, and what that silence actually costs people in terms of fair pay and informed decisions.
We looked at how salary transparency changes power in a negotiation, and why the discomfort around money is cultural, not logical.
And we covered practical language for the 2 situations where money comes up most: job interviews and honest conversations with people you trust.
The question of the week. Have you ever felt uncomfortable talking about money? Tell us why. 1 sentence in English in the comments.
If this episode helped your English today, if you followed along, learned something new, or spent 12 minutes thinking in English, that is progress worth recognizing.
Please subscribe on YouTube, give this episode a like, and share it with someone who has never negotiated a salary in their life.
We will see you in the next episode. I am Claire.
I am Ethan. And the next time someone asks what you earn, you do not have to answer. But knowing the language to answer, if you choose to, is power.
Real English Lounge. See you next time.
Your English journey doesn't end here.
Keep listening, keep learning, and keep speaking.
Choose your next conversation.
We'll see you in the next episode of Real English Lounge.